So when you think about life-saving technology, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Maybe, I don't know, a defibrillator or some crazy advanced surgical robot? But what if I told you that one of the most effective life-saving devices out there is the one you carry in your pocket every single day? We're about to dive into the incredible and often invisible safety nets that technology has built all around us. First up, we're going to start with some truly wild stories. I mean, stories where everyday gadgets became these unlikely last-second heroes in literal life or death situations. Okay, just picture this. There's an explosion outside a stadium, and in that chaos, you instinctively lift your phone to your ear. At that exact moment, a piece of shrapnel comes flying right at you. But instead of tragedy, it just smashes into your phone. Now, this isn't some scene from a movie. It actually happened during the 2015 Paris attacks. An ordinary device became a literal shield. And believe me, this is not a one-off thing. There was a MacBook just sitting in a backpack that stopped a bullet during a shooting at a Florida airport. An iPhone 11 Pro took a direct hit for a Ukrainian soldier. And you know, it's not always about stopping projectiles. Get this, a snowboarder trapped in ice with just 3% battery left was able to make a life-saving call. Or a woman who had a serious fall used Siri on her AirPods to call for help. These are our accidental tech heroes. So yeah, these devices are amazing accidental lifesavers for sure. But in a lot of these cases, their true power wasn't really stopping a bullet. It was connecting a person to a much larger, deliberately designed system. They helped people call for help. So what happens next? This is where we move from a single accidental save to a system that was designed from the ground up to save millions. We're talking about the system that answers that call for help. You know, back in the 1960s, the situation for emergency medical services in the US was, well, bleak. I mean, imagine there's a car crash. There was no single number to call. Can you even picture that? Thousands of preventable deaths were happening every year. This wasn't something that got fixed by accident. No, this was a massive, coordinated effort. In 1968, AT&T designated 911 as the universal emergency number. Then, through the 70s, government acts and some major philanthropic grants helped build out the regional trauma systems that we all rely on today. And the impact? It was absolutely dramatic. Before this big push, in the regions they studied, only about 11% of people had access to a single emergency number. Afterwards, that number skyrocketed to 95%. This wasn't some slow, gradual shift. It was a revolution in public safety, and it was built completely on purpose. The really crucial takeaway here is that this wasn't just a government project. It was a team effort, a collaboration between the private sector, like AT&T, and philanthropy, which kicked in that critical startup funding. They designed a system that was actually built to last, with a sustainable funding model we still use today. Okay, so we've gone from accidental saves to these deliberate life-saving response systems. And a fast response is absolutely crucial. But what if we could go a step further? What about the technologies that prevent millions of emergencies from ever even happening in the first place? This brings us to the quietest, but maybe the most powerful life-saving tech of all. This vast, invisible infrastructure that works like a silent, ever-present safety net. Let's take a quick trip back to 19th century London. The River Thames was, to put it mildly, an open sewer. It led to something they called the Great Stink of 1858. Diseases like cholera were just rampant, killing over 10,000 people in a single year. The solution? It wasn't some new medicine. It was a massive feat of civil engineering, Sir Joseph Bazalgette's revolutionary sewer system. It didn't just clean up the city, it practically wiped out cholera. All right, now let's talk about scale. Because when you combine the impact of basic sanitation, I'm talking about the humble toilet, with agricultural breakthroughs like synthetic fertilizers and the Green Revolution, well, the numbers are just almost impossible to comprehend. These foundational innovations are credited with saving over 1 billion lives. That's the power of invisible infrastructure. And there are just countless other examples. The Fresnel lens, this brilliant 19th century invention for lighthouses, was literally called the invention that saved 1 million ships. Or think about modern road design, like the simple roundabout, which can reduce fatal crashes at intersections by up to 90%. These are the invisible heroes, working 24/7 to keep us safe. So, where do we go from here? Well, let's look at the next great frontier of life-saving technology, one that's being built as we speak, the automated safety net. Every single year, about 1.3 million people die in road crashes around the world. That is just a staggering toll. And when you dig into the data, it reveals something really profound. An estimated 94% of those accidents are caused by human error. We get distracted, we get tired, we make mistakes. This is the problem that AI and automation are promising to solve. The vision is pretty compelling, right? A world of fully autonomous vehicles that all talk to each other, getting rid of traffic jams, and most importantly, eliminating human error. A future where cars just don't crash. But the transition to that future is incredibly complicated, and it's risky. We see headlines all the time about drivers dangerously misusing autopilot features, thinking the car can do way more than it actually can. And of course, we've had tragic, fatal crashes involving autonomous test vehicles. The path to a safer, automated future is definitely not a straight line. So we're kind of left with this central tension. On the one hand, we know humans are fallible. We get distracted, we get tired. On the other hand, a machine isn't vulnerable to those flaws, but it introduces a whole new set of them. Software glitches, sensor failures, and some really deep ethical questions. I mean, who's responsible when an autonomous car has to make a split-second, life-or-death decision? And this isn't just about cars. The same logic applies to so many other critical fields. In the US alone, medical errors cause an estimated 250,000 deaths per year. Think about an automated system that double-checks prescriptions or monitors patients without ever getting tired. That could form the next layer of our safety net, potentially saving millions of lives. So look at the journey we've been on. From an iPhone stopping a piece of shrapnel, to the deliberate creation of the 911 system, to the invisible sewers and roads that protect us every day, and now to the automated systems of the future. From sewers to satellites, we have always been building safety nets. As AI begins to weave the next one, the fundamental question we all have to face is this: to be safer, how much control are we really willing to give up?